Welcome back to the Computomics podcast, everyone. Our last episode, we discussed the role that industry and academia play in innovation. And this episode, I wanted to have our Director of Global Business Strategy here, Ruth Mayes, to discuss some of the ways that we've been able to bring innovation to our clients. If you're interested to hear some case studies of what we have been up to, this is the episode for you. I hope you enjoy. So Ruth, welcome to the episode. I'm really excited to have you here with us today.
Hello, Anna. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I think that this episode will segue really well from our discussion with Kevin. He was really talking about his experience working in large academia and in large agricultural institutions and the important role they play in driving innovation. And I think it would be an interesting perspective to then talk about what it's like to work for a smaller scale company, a startup that has different aspects and different capabilities. And I thought maybe this would be the right first question for you. Maybe you can just tell us what it's like working for Computomics and for a smaller company. I know you also have experience in working for bigger institutions in your career, so you would have a great perspective.
Sure, yeah, thank you, Anna. Yes, indeed, I have worked for very large multinational companies, and actually this is my first experience in working with a startup company, and I have to say I thoroughly enjoy it. Everything you do counts. So, you sometimes in these larger organizations become a little bit of a cog in a big wheel, whereas here you have a very focused strategy and specific goals that you're working towards. And it's great when you hit those goals and you hit the metrics that you feel as though you're achieving. And it's not just about you're achieving and finding satisfaction for yourself in that achievement, but you also feel rewarded as a team. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about Computomics, that there is this family feel, and we do feel like a very close-knit team. And I really enjoy that aspect.
That's true. We really come together for problems and for our clients and for things that need to be done. It's different than having to come together with thousands of other employees, which is rather difficult. And it's great to just have that ability to all work on an issue together or on a solution or on something exciting.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I really enjoy the fact that, in a smaller team, you can have real great brainstorming sessions. I'm always a great believer that more heads, the better. I really like the fact that with Sebastian, our managing director, he allows you to be innovative and he allows you to think for yourself, and he listens. And if you find a solution to a specific task or problem, then he's very open and very amenable and very accessible to sort of listen. And we've worked very hard over the last 3 years to put a lot of infrastructure into the company, and I think we're in a good place to sort of transition into a mid-range company now.
Definitely, I agree with you, and it's been great just seeing the diversity of biological problems that come to us from the diversity of clients we've had over the years. To me, that's been one of the most satisfying things, is just perpetually expanding my understanding of who is agriculture, where are the issues, who needs solutions. Maybe you can sort of give us a walkthrough about our diversity of clients and who you've had the pleasure of working with.
Yeah, absolutely. And to sort of follow on from what we just discussed as well, I think part of being a proud member of the Computomics team is the fact that we were founded to bring new and innovative bioinformatic tools to industry. And, we predominantly use our machine learning expertise in finding real solutions for clients. So I think we've completed way over 140 projects now across, I think, 12 countries. And we work on a multitude of different projects across the biotech industry. We work with the seed industry, the commercial product group sectors, which includes beauty, and across many other biotech divisions as well. So I think our projects can include anything from metagenomics to gene expression analysis, predictive breeding as well, which we're well known for, and as well as developing bespoke pipelines, which can include anything from, I think, GBS pipelines we've developed, and of course we have a pan-genome web browser as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's been so great to also walk with certain clients or kind of see their them advance through these different, stages. Let's say maybe we help them initially with something that was at the very beginning of their journey, and we sort of stayed with them through all of their challenges and have really ended up in a great place with them. Maybe you can give us just a example of a case study or success story where we've been able to help our customers that's stuck with you over the years, or something that you reflect on when you think about what we do and why we do it.
Sure, and yeah, you're absolutely right. We pride ourselves on being identified as the company to go to if you have a very difficult, complex biological project or issue which needs the experience of machine learning and bioinformatic expertise. So we're best known for our discovery work in predictive breeding, and our machine learning performance prediction technology called XSeedScore. Now, Anna, as you know, XSeedScore is very close to my heart.
Yes, so, you put a lot of your heart and soul into it, I know, yes.
So it seems natural to give you a success story using an XSeedScore example. So,
sure.
So yeah, we had one client who wanted to transition away from traditional blubs. He wanted to really make a step change in his focus and in his attitude to breeding, and he really wanted to really make some real exponential gains with yields and yield increases. And he wanted to look at implementing our machine learning technology. But he only had sort of limited amounts of genotype and phenotype data. So I think people talk a lot about data nowadays, but
Definitely.
they don't talk enough about the right data. So this was a client who had an open pollinated crop, and as we know, historically, a lot of material gets discarded, which actually for machine learning is useful. But we worked with the client to generate enough data to start with making initial crosses to generate robust parents. You don't need a real abundance of, I think the perception is you need tons and tons and tons of data.
I think that's probably the fear more than the perception, right? It's always the hesitation. Maybe we are going to enter into this discussion with computomics and feel foolish that we came with this subpar quantity, and what is really enough, and how do I know that I'm enough? It's almost like that discussion of being enough. I don't know.
Yeah, and as you know, we're sort of very used to that now. So we work with clients across the spectrum, clients who have very, very small amounts of data, and we offer a consultancy where we actually work with them to build the right robust data sets, and people take there's a lot of digital phenotyping ongoing now, so we actually can advise clients how much is enough, because you want to make as many cost savings, especially with phenotyping, as you possibly can. So we've optimized the sort of protocols. We can tell you how much data is enough, and you don't actually need tons and tons of data to enable machine learning, but you need to have the right kind of data. So when you're talking, of course, I think I mentioned this is an open pollinated crop, so obviously you need to start off with a training data set and a target data set. So obviously the training data set looks at what you've got now, and the target data set is where you want to go, what you want to achieve within your breeding program. So, as I mentioned, we worked with this client to generate enough data to start with making initial crosses to generate robust parents. We then crossed these and created the first generation. We used our machine learning technology to simulate millions of crosses, so simulate crosses to identify the best progeny that obviously had the traits such as yield, early flowering time that the breeder was really interested in. So we used these to sort of develop populations, and then we performed early generation testing to be able to identify all of the elite genetics for the traits that the breeder was most interested in. And as you know, Anna, as the technology looks at each marker and combinations of markers, we're able to identify the elite lines which can escalate through the breeders' pre-commercial sort of pipelines. The technology can identify what a homozygous F2 will look like at heterozygous F4. So obviously this allows you to escalate the really elite lines through your pipelines very quickly, and obviously progeny from this cycle can go on to be parents in the next cycle. But it also allows you to sort of discard the low performers very quickly. I'm no breeder, Anna, but I understand that heterozygous F2 exactly. But I understand that heterozygous F2 plants can look pretty well. You can't really identify the good from the bad. So you are really, you know, you're just
in a guessing quandary, let's say, right?
Yeah, indeed, and you're hoping to pick what the best, but the actual technology allows you to tell you what is genetically best at F2. So you're only escalating these really elite genetics, and then of course you're discarding the not so good very early on.
So I guess the question begs to be answered. Did it work out? You know, so
I think we're on year 3 with this particular breeder. So yes, it's working out very well.
Okay, great. And do you feel like that story sticks out in your mind just because was there maybe an initial hesitation, or what was the real, you know, what really drives it home for you? What is the thing that you think about the most? Like, if I could just convey this to other breeders of similar open pollinated crops, like I just feel like it would make a huge difference.
I think, I think there are 2 ways really that I look at this, and if we go back to suitable data sets, and I think that is possibly, people think of it being a bottleneck that they don't have the most suitable data sets. But that isn't actually true. We work with you to make sure that we'll work with what you've got, and if you don't have enough, we will advise you to generate enough data so that you have the absolute data sets. And as I've said previously, you're building a really good data repository, which obviously will future-proof your business, because that enables you to access all of the genetics within your breeding program. And one of our consultants, he said something to me this morning. He said, it's not just identifying what's in your germplasm, it's understanding genetically your germplasm, which I think is really important. But I think what you have to realize is that, the breeders, they have all the knowledge, the expertise, and all they need to do is bring any existing data that they have to us. The team here, we work with identifying which lines to genotype and the best genotyping technology. And we will, as I mentioned previously, provide the most cost-effective phenotyping models. I think, when you ask me, what stands out, what really stands out is when you go and you meet your breeders and they're hopping in their seat because they're so excited with the results that they're getting. That is what makes my day. When you're really seeing the results when you get the breeder come back to you and they have a discovery project and they're really starting to think about pushing their breeding programs in different directions what they could never conceivably have done without utilizing machine learning. That's what excites me. The fact that this absolutely is a disruptive technology and it can revolutionize your breeding program, that's what really excites me.
Yeah, it's almost what it sounds like to me is that it's really that you get to go on that journey with them, right? So you're really,
Absolutely.
you know, like we've discovered it for ourselves, and with every new client or maybe even, you know, clients we've had over the years with their sort of advances, we sort of get to relish in that success over and over again. And it's that journey of celebrating with them and also, you know, really putting them on that path that that isn't in of itself rewarding, right?
Our reputation depends on their success.
Right.
So it's almost like reflected glory. And yeah, you know, when you see there is a lot of tentativeness when we have clients start to talk to us. They're tentative. I mean, if you think about how long it takes to establish some of these breeding programs and how long the breeding pipeline is from starting off with your parents to actually launching a new hybrid or a new variety. It could be anything from 8 years, 6 years. Who wants to disrupt that? So I think when you have a robust breeding program, you're going to be very nervous and very tentative about introducing new technology.
Definitely.
Because obviously you don't want any disruption. But when you start to see the results and see the excitement of the breeders, I mean, it is very, very rewarding.
Yeah. So maybe a great follow-on to that question is then how would someone start this, you know, sort of this exploratory discussion with us or the relationship, or what can they expect when they get in touch? Because usually a lot of the requests do come to you, so you are the front line of who somebody would talk to. So it's great that you're on the podcast. People get to hear your voice. What would you what would you lead the customer through, or just the interested party, or
Sure. So if you'd like to get in contact, we'll talk to you initially about basically what your challenges are, what your pain points are, what you want to achieve within your breeding program, specifically obviously about Exceed Score here. You can contact me for any other project as well, by the
of
way.
course.
But yeah, we will just sort of have an initial, we'll take you through the technology so you have a really comprehensive overview and understanding of the technology. So that's the fundamental interaction, and when you understand the technology and how it can work and how it can revolutionize your breeding program, we'll then sort of start to talk about, if you want to have further discussions, talk about the data, how the data can fit the technology. If you don't have enough data, we will work with you. We'll advise you how to achieve that. It usually doesn't take much more time and effort to generate the correct data sets, and then we will sort of discuss, what traits you're interested in, what you want to achieve, and then we'll sort of take you on the journey and work with you. And what you've got to remember, it gets better and better because you're getting genetic gain each cycle. So next season's always going to be better than this season.
Yeah.
And again, I think that it is absolutely, as you said, a journey. So we're here to help you to access and exploit all of the genetic potential within your breeding program.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you for that, Ruth. I think that gives us a great overview, and we hope to have you back on the podcast.
Thank you, Anna.
So thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed that episode and an opportunity to hear from Ruth. She's really great to get in touch with, so please feel free. Email her at ruth.mayes@computomics.com, or always email us info@computomics.com. You can also visit our website and get in touch with us there. We hope to see you back for our next episode.